going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to our 49ers versus Cowboys preview. My name is Zach Hernandez. I'm joined with my co-host, Matt Llewellyn, as always. And Matt, it's an interesting game. We put out a podcast, the Red Gold Center podcast today, and we titled it, like, Who Would Have Thought? And the whole premise was, looking back at this game at the beginning of the year, it was a much more enticing game. Now here we are, 80% through the season. What's even left to play for? What are you looking forward to seeing in this almost meaningless game for the 49ers?
Draft position. I mean, that's really what we're playing for at this point. I think playoffs are the ship's kind of sailing. I don't think that we're going to get there. So not with Mullins playing quarterback and all the injuries and cool. I think I'm not sure. I haven't seen, but George Kittle expected to play, I think.
I don't know if he's expected to play.
There's a chance that he could play.
Yeah, that's what I saw, I think.
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm sure he'll get out there and test it, but I mean, again, it's not a game that you don't need to rush George Kittle back for this. It's kind of a meaningless game, except for draft position, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. We're going to learn more about the people that we have and who we're going to kind of keep and get rid of than more so than anything else, like which team is better or like what, that ship has sailed. That sailed Dallas when Dak's ankle broke, and that sailed for the 49ers when, everybody just fell like flies. So
what I think is interesting is Dallas, I think if they win and if Washington and New York lose, they're one game out of their division, which is crazy because they're, I think, one game behind us.
Yeah.
So I just don't get that whole division is trash. I totally agree with you. All that I'm looking forward to is basically maybe some guys auditioning to get extended after this year, possibly one of the 40 whatever free agents that the 49ers have.
Yeah.
But I put out a poll earlier, and it was shockingly close as to what's more important to people, a win against the Cowboys, who some people still think of as the 49ers rival, or securing a premium draft pick. I think I know your answer, but what would you say is
premium draft pick? And yeah, I've seen the Twitter noise too. Like, the Cowboys and 49ers haven't been rivals since Jerry Rice was still on the team. Like they had those 3 consecutive years where they went in the NFC Championship game, and that was like really hot debated stuff. That was what I grew up with, and I hated the Cowboys growing up. But at this point, there's nobody left from that era. So like, it's not like they play every year. It's not like they're in the division. I just don't think that it's something to get too up in arms about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And just like, they said the comment here, it was too close. The poll was way too close. Yeah. I thought a lot of people were going to be like, of course, the draft pick. And I saw other people going at it on Twitter too, basically saying it doesn't matter where you pick, it matters who you pick. But who you pick depends on where you pick.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
And just to make that argument, it's just like, well, if the 49ers didn't pick second, they're not getting Nick Bosa last year.
Exactly.
It's just – and somebody else said this, that you don't need to spend a first-round pick on a quarterback. You can get guys in the third round. The statistics aren't on your side on that. So, like, listen, premium players usually come at premium picks. Of course there's exceptions. Of course there's outliers. Of course you're going to have the occasional Russell Wilson in the third round, or you're going to find Fred Warner in the third round, or a Kittle in the fifth, or something like that. But, there's no wonder that most of the premium picks, as far as like edge rushers or quarterbacks, they're first round picks by and large.
Yep.
You'll see the occasional guy, but the statistics overwhelmingly favor the higher the pick, the better the player. That's just how it is. And to argue otherwise by just, I don't know. That's like arguing that Mike McGlinchey, which I've seen also, that Mike McGlinchey hasn't struggled this year, which to me is insane. Anybody defending him at this point.
It is really weird. But I've made the comparison for a few weeks now is, would you have rather won a couple more games 2 seasons ago and lost out on Nick Bosa? Or would you rather just come to the conclusion that although I never want my team to lose, in the long run, it's just the better scenario for them. Maybe not necessarily to lose, but to not win. It's like I'm not actively rooting for them to get crushed every week, but I'm also okay if they happen to not win. I think that's kind of the argument that a lot of fans don't get, and they're thinking, look, I'd never root for a tank, blah, blah, blah. That's not what we're saying. We're basically saying is just keep in mind the long-term perspective here. If Kyle Shanahan really does want to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, none of us want to see Nick Mullins start 16 games next season or CJ Beathard. Their shot is to finish with a top 10 pick and draft one of these quarterbacks in the first round.
Yeah, definitely. The argument's silly. It's a nothing argument, you know. Yeah. What we want here is to evaluate players that may or may not be on the team next year, see if we got something, and then kind of set ourselves up for the draft going forward to retool for a run next year. There's a lot of talent on this team that went down due to injury, and whether or not you think Jimmy is the guy, that's up to you, but he didn't get it done this year, and he's had a problem with injuries. And for me, it's okay, maybe he stays healthy next year, and maybe you can make another run at it, but I don't know that the history's on his side. You know, he didn't play a lot in New England. When he took over for Tom Brady during Deflategate, the 4-game suspension, he got injured game 2. Comes here, starts 5 games, and you're like, okay, well, maybe he's something. Gets injured. Then he comes back, and you're like, okay, well, let's see what he has now. Has a good run. Now what happens again this year? Injured. So I don't want to do this like, is he injured, is he not injured kind of thing. It's kind of clear that Jimmy Garoppolo's body's not going to hold up over the long term, and otherwise his play hasn't been stellar either. So why not just take the dive right now and get a top-flight rookie quarterback if you can, and then take the 5 years that they're on the rookie contract and really build around that person. It can't be any worse than what we got this year. Quarterback this year has been horrendous.
It really has been. And I think the rookie contract, we've talked about that. That's the main part of all of this, is not only getting a guy who can come in there and do the job and be competent, but being on a controlled salary for the first 4 to 5 years. That's huge for a team that thinks they could be in win now mode with just 1 to 2 pieces. That's a really big component of it. So I'm looking forward to that. But getting back to this Dallas game, I know we could talk about the draft all day at this point because this is such a lost season.
By the way, before we change topics, I just want to go back to, we were talking about like Mike McGlinchey or whatever, and the guys on Twitter defending him, saying like, well, I watched the film and he looks fine to me. Well, guess what? John Lynch came out today and said they're probably going to ask him to gain weight in the offseason. So I don't know, Twitter warrior who watches film or the general manager agreeing with us saying Slim Mike is too slim. He needs to eat a sandwich. I feel vindicated. So who knows?
Yeah, I totally agree. Something's wrong with Mike McGlinchey being that small. It just doesn't make any sense. He was much bigger, and I don't know what happened, if his diet changed or workout regimen, but something happened to where he gets.
What I think it was? I think that Joe Staley retired. Mike was hanging out with Joe, and by proxy, like, monkey see, monkey do, or whatever, like hanging out with Joe all the time. And if Joe's going to lose weight, then Mike's losing weight, and then there was no off season to really kind of offset that. Because if you go back and you just look at his Notre Dame pictures, he's way bigger than what he was. Even his rookie year with the 49ers, way bigger than what he is now. And he's getting bodied this year. I have never seen a lineman get thrown on his ass more than McGlinchey has this year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is.
A ton.
Yeah, he's just completely always on his ass. Every time I look over, he's flying through the air. It's like man, regardless of being skinny, should get thrown through the air as much as Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, or he's holding somebody.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
Yeah. As soon as I see flag, they go flag in the area holding him, like 69. Watch.
Yep.
Watch.
It's always that.
Yeah.
Comment here, Matt Stafford of the 49ers. I would love Matt Stafford. I just don't think it's happening.
I don't see it. You know what the more likely one is? Considering Mr. Heisman, Mr. Marcus Mariota was throwing bombs, I think Derek Carr is going to be available.
Wow.
So
I can see it. I mean,
I think Derek Carr would fit this offense.
I think Gruden, there was those rumors that he was going after Brady, right? This offseason. So
I just don't think he likes Derek Carr. I think that because Derek Carr is not the get up in your face type of leader that John Gruden is, I don't think that he likes him that much. It's personality clash more than anything, because it's not like Derek Carr is playing bad this season. For me, the problem with the Raiders is their defense. Their pass defense is trash.
Yep.
So, I mean, you look at their points per game, they're scoring. they just can't stop anybody. So it's not Derek Carr that's the problem to me. It's the defense.
Yeah, 100%.
So I actually hope that Gruden makes that mistake, because if the 49ers, because I mean, if you get jettisoned for Marcus Mariota, that kind of pegs down your value a little bit, and hopefully we can get him in for cheap, but who knows?
Derek Carr would be a solid starting quarterback.
At least a 3 or 4 year bridge, right? Until you, like, if you don't want to spend the capital now, maybe you can spend it later. But I don't know. That's just me spitballing. I don't think it's very likely, but it's possible.
Possible. The other backup quarterback, we actually did a video on this earlier in our YouTube history, I guess you could say, is Andy Dalton. And when the Cowboys signed him, we did a video, should the 49ers have picked him up? Looking back now, they would have been in a much better position had they have signed Dalton back then. The Cowboys, although they're not lighting anybody up, they're a much solid, consistent team, I guess I could say, with Dalton under center. Now that Dak is out with a season-ending injury, they're all right. And I think that the 49ers would have been smart to sign Dalton. Is there anything there with Dalton that still makes you think defensively he could still get the job done, like, say, tomorrow against the Niners?
Nah. I mean, for me, I think the 49ers defense is too good for Andy Dalton. I'm just going to be real. But is Andy Dalton better than Nick Mullins? I think it's a clear yes that he is. I mean, Andy Dalton's been like, what, a 9 or 10 year starter in this league, and you don't get to be – I mean, he was the starting quarterback for the Bengals when they made the playoffs for like 5 or 6 straight years, and that just doesn't happen in Cincinnati. So to me, he's better than what we have. And so, yes, if we had signed him, would that be better? Of course, because what we have now is – I mean, you might as well just light the building on fire and walk out, because it's been not good.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that he might not be able to get it done against a good defense, but against the bottom half of the league, he could still perform at a solid level. Real quick, I just got to say, I got my Santa Claus shirt today in the mail. When I ordered it, it did not say that it was going to be here in time. I thought I was going to get it after Christmas, but it's actually available. So if you guys, the link should be in the bio below. All free shipping in the US. If you don't mind getting it after Christmas, free standard shipping. You can still get it by Christmas if you use overnight or rush shipping, and you can get 15% off with code HIVE15. Go get that now. Santa Claus are 2 different designs. I got the other one over there somewhere, but I like this one, so thought they came out pretty cool. Back to the game. A lot of questionables for tomorrow. I know that I think Elliott was questionable on the injury report.
Yeah.
Rashard Robinson questionable. Xavier Woods questionable for the Cowboys. And for the 49ers, Kwan and Fred are both questionable. And it looks like Grasu and Warner are both out. And Kittle's still on their status IR, so I don't think he's going to play.
Okay.
I don't think that.
I know they opened his practice window. So they must
that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think any chance we see CJ tomorrow?
I think if Nick plays really, really, really badly in the first half, that there's a chance that you could definitely see CJ Beathard, especially because, I mean, Nick has taken some shots this year. So to me, it's just a matter of time before he's going to take one a little up high and maybe get his bell rung. But it's either, I think there's like a 50-50 shot, to be honest, that we'll see CJ either through ineffective play or because Nick Mullins gets the snot knocked out of him again. Yeah.
I think that this is probably the best chance we have all year of actually seeing CJ come in and, relieve Nick Mullins of playing. I just think that there's been such a consistent stream of poor performances by Nick Mullins going back to like week 3. I mean, or when did Jimmy come back? Week 4, I want to say. Week 5.
I think it was week 5 against the Dolphins.
That's right. Yeah. Going back to that Giants game, I think that was Nick Mullins' last good performance. Everything since then has been like wincing and kind of just get through it, run the ball, throw it only when you have to. And it's unfortunate, but I don't think he's got that long of a leash by any means. So I would not be surprised if second half Nick Mullins isn't doing well. The game might still be in reach. He might pull him and say, CJ, let's see what you got. And who knows how much prettier or uglier that can be. CJ's all over the place always. Looking back on this season, are there any things that you are I don't want to say disappointed because the whole season is a disappointment in, but things that regardless of the injuries, COVID, you still would have liked to have seen the team do better at?
Yeah, just consistent play and taking care of the ball. There's just been so many careless turnovers, and I think that a lot of that has to do with panicking in the moment. And you need to have guys that are out there who, have confidence in themselves. And that starts with the coaching. And to me, it seems a little bit like the coaches don't have confidence in the players. The players don't have confidence in themselves. And you can see it sometimes with Kyle's play calling. It's been a disappointing season all the way around. Health, you'd like to see them stay healthy, but I don't know that that's something you can really control or account for. They've already cleared house on their strength and conditioning staff once. I don't know that you could do it again without really taking a look at something else. But it just seems to be freak injuries. So that they just need to, they need to retool, whether that's with Jimmy or not. I have no control over that. I'd rather get somebody else, but if they don't, then maybe they can run it back. But they have to do something to just be more consistent and take care of the ball. They're not forcing as many turnovers as they did last year, even though they're doing a pretty good job of taking the ball away. They're just doing a much worse job at giving it up.
Yeah, quick couple comments here. Nick was already having a bad during the first half against Washington. He was still on the field until the fourth quarter. That's a good point. Somehow having doubts, CJ enters the field. Yes, but I think Kyle Shanahan, I don't want to say he had that epiphany last Sunday against Washington, but I think it finally did hit him like, okay, I know Nick and CJ both can't do much, but I think it might be time soon to at least see what CJ can do because Nick's definitely not getting the job done. Some of those balls Nick was throwing last Sunday were horrendous, and I can't imagine CJ's going to be that much worse, and he's got the stronger arm. He might not be as much of a computer as the coaches always like to say that Nick Mullins is, but he still might be able to do something. And
some kind of virus, dude, because he makes way too many screw-ups.
Yeah, definitely. Aaron Paul, I don't think the 49ers have won a game this year without a full game with Debo. Is that right? I think so off the top of my head. Yeah. Debo's only played like 4.5 games, I'd say, right?
They won the Jets game without Debo.
I think he says with Debo.
I don't think the 49ers have won a game this year without a full game with Debo. Yeah, so with Debo not playing, they won the Jets game, but I think that's the only one.
Okay. Yeah.
They might have won I think Jets Giants. I don't know when Debo came back. He came back week 4 against the Eagles. So they won 2 without him. Yeah. But they haven't had their whole offense the entire season, that's for sure.
No. And we talked about this last week in the post-game live stream where you think Debo just really needs to kind of get down to receiver weight, and he's kind of at that in between.
He just came up on his conditioning, and this happens sometimes with young players that they don't like the 8-9 year vet, right? That's the guy that like does nothing but eat super clean, trains year round, stuff like that. I think that Debo is that young guy who's like, man, I'm hungry. I'm going to go to McDonald's. Like, I'm not worried about it. It's whatever. And that may work when you're like 20, 21, 22, whatever. But for him specifically, because he does seem to put on a little bit of weight when he's sedentary and out of condition, it would behoove him to stay in condition, get on a flexibility program because he's had some of these soft tissue injuries to the muscle bellies where like he's pulling hamstrings and stuff like that. So do some yoga or something like that and start eating like an old man, and it'll extend your career and you'll not have, you'll have less injuries and presumably it couldn't hurt. And I think the team should have a sit down with him and just kind of, tell him, hey man, let's try to keep this under control, because he came into that game like when he got injured and was over on the sideline. I'm like, oh, he's kind of got a gut on him. Like he's kind of looking a little flabby there. Like he hasn't been doing much. And I know that he's hurt, but there are other things that you could do to stay in conditioning. And if you can't do the physical work, then you have to do like the diet work too, because adding weight on top of being injured is only going to stress out that body even more. I mean, I'm a living example of that. I've had a ton of surgeries and put on a ton of weight, and it's not good for me. I can tell you that. So, speaking from experience.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is not only being young, but almost having that mentality. Like, I've been able to have success at multiple levels just doing what I'm doing, not having to change too much. It's almost like that guy that, aces school, succeeds in everything, and then he has like a failure and he doesn't really know how to cope with it. I'm not comparing that to that, but it's almost like he was kind of like, well, I'm doing just fine, living the way I've been. So I do think that could play a part in it, but I agree with you. I think the staff needs to sit him down or let's come up with maybe a stricter, diet for him and set him back into that more condition. Because we are seeing more of these injuries. This season, he hasn't been able to stay on the field for longer than, 4 or 5 games. It's really unfortunate because they're a much better team. Getting into some comments here. I don't remember which video Matt said this. Mullins is good until Shanahan decides to change the plan. Mullins couldn't adapt to the change.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that Mullins is good on scripted plays, and then once he's off scripted plays, he's not as good. When you ask him to, read a defense and make adjustments at the line, when Shanahan hasn't put together the group of plays, it's like, on that first run play sheet, it's like, okay, here's your pass play, here's your run play. If you see this, then audible to the other one, that's fine. But rarely do you see him call out protections or coverages or audibles when they're doing it. Sometimes he'll audible to the run play, but it's almost never the other way. It's almost never run, see something, okay, let's change that to a pass. So I just think, he needs to be spoon-fed a little bit to be effective, and I don't think that that's a good sign in a quarterback overall.
No, and even once the play starts to happen, must have lost Matt there. Even once the play starts to happen, we do see Nick Mullins completely just break. If his first read's not there, second read possibly isn't there, he doesn't really know how to get that done. Matt's back. So totally agree with those comments. This is our Rojas TM. Are we allowed to ask fantasy questions for 49ers players? Yeah, send them. Shoot them away. What's up, Royce? Thanks for tuning in tonight. Saturday night, guys. Making some tamales here, so this won't be as long of a live stream.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul. Maybe Debo can get some to Slim Mike.
For real. Hey, Slim Mike can take it all from me. That's for sure.
Yeah, seriously. Same here. It's probably good that CJ is not a robot. Yeah, I mean, Jesus. CJ should be starting. Mullins has had his chance.
I mean, I don't think it matters either way. They're both pretty bad. I think that Shanahan likes CJ Beathard more, so he doesn't want to get him killed. I really think that's it. It's like one of the guys is going to get blasted, and it might as well be Nick because I don't like him and his dumb face. So
he's probably thinking, Nick, I basically just got you a contract with some other team after this season. You can at least stand in here the next 3 weeks and just take
some shots.
Yeah, just do that for me. I made you a couple million playing you over CJ. Kyle needs to stop being loyal and do what's best for the team. Maybe after this year. I mean, I don't think it matters so much anymore. Going up to this year, I did think it was strange. They kept 3 quarterbacks. That was always kind of a point of contention. Yeah. That was a loyalty thing. So there are some things where his loyalty does kind of get in the way.
I mean, I don't think that's the case anymore because Nick Mullins has played so bad that it's just like, well, I might as well just keep – if I want a bad quarterback play, I can just put CJ in there. So, But at least I like CJ.
Yep. Please.
By the way, that's just our opinion. So.
Yeah. Please explain why Kyle don't use juice more in the passing game and gadget plays.
No idea. No idea. Should. I think he's so underutilized.
Yep. Getting paid millions of dollars, highest paid fullback in the league, and he's rarely used. They're a much better team when he's actually utilized.
Probably some of the easiest money he's ever made in his career.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there are entire games where he barely gets the ball once or twice. He's not even used as a lead block.
You see the highlights from last year, right, where he dribbles Minka Fitzpatrick off the ground, or he sprawls out for a catch while getting hit in the head.
Yep.
There's so many highlights of him when he does get the chance to touch the ball. It's like, why wouldn't you give him the ball way more? I don't get it. It's
almost like the down year and the injuries, it prevents him Kyle from wanting to be creative and innovative with his offense. It's almost he's thinking like, I'll just save this for when we're, next season when we're good again, because I'm not going to waste these.
I don't want to show it if they can't use it. Yeah.
That's kind of what I get at, but who knows? Yeah. Rojas, don't know who to choose my flex position between Raheem Mostert or Jeff Wilson. Full PPR, could use some expert 49er advice. Well, self-proclaimed experts here. I would go with Mostert.
I would probably go Mostert too, even though Jeff Wilson is that guy that's going to get like 2 carries for 3 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is like, I mean, in any fantasy, touchdowns count for more than yards. So, but I think Dallas has a porous enough defense that Raheem might hit one and house one from far away. So I would say Raheem, just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think should bounce back. I don't want to say bounce back. He's kind of had a light workload the last couple of weeks, and I would hope that he would at least get some more carries. I don't really know if they're trying to spare him as far as like, wearing him out to end the year, what they're kind of doing with that, but he needs to be more involved if the 49ers want any chance at winning or even just success on offense.
I mean, I think he's getting the normal amount of touches that the running back one usually has. He's been getting 15 carries the last couple games.
Fair.
There's no,
maybe it's just
Shanahan doesn't do that 20 carry bell cow back thing. He doesn't do it. He rotates his guys. But I do think that it's been disappointing how seemingly ineffective he's been. He hasn't been Raheem Mostert that he was before. Maybe some of that's lingering effects of the injury. And, maybe it's now that the line isn't as good as it was, maybe we're seeing that Raheem wasn't the end-all, be-all, and he needed that blocking to utilize that fast speed that he has. So,
yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but.
Where is it? There's a comment here. Are you disappointed in Raheem?
A little bit.
Yeah.
He held out for extra money and then underproduced.
Yeah, that's a big point. That's a big point. Even a back who does that coming off of last season, a career year, you would hope they'd at least be able to follow that up. Running backs in particular, that's a team where regardless of your quarterback, I mean, I know opposing defenses can stack the box, but there should be things that you should be able to do to still have some level of success. I don't think we've really seen that from him.
Yeah. By the way, a career year where he didn't hit 1,000 yards rushing.
That's true. Yeah.
So
a lot of it just came off that championship game where people remember him going for 2.
He had a bunch of touchdowns in the playoffs, but they weren't throwing the ball. I mean, yeah, he had really, really good games in the playoffs, but so did Joe Flacco, and the Ravens overpaid Joe Flacco for a playoff run. So
flashbacks. How does he like him more but never use him? I'm not sure if this is in reference to Juice or
no.
CJ.
I think it's CJ. I just think that he doesn't want to get him killed. I think that Kyle thinks he's a valuable guy in the locker room to have because he's a tough guy. He's well liked in the locker room. He's probably knows when you're studying on paper. He probably can tell you exactly where people are supposed to go. It's just that he's not good at processing in real time on the field at game speed. CJ's the type of guy that he's going to be with Shanahan his entire career. And then when he retires as a 17-year vet backup or whatever, he's going to become a quarterback's coach at like Wichita State or something. And the next thing you know, he's going to be the offensive coordinator somewhere. And you're like, oh, yeah, CJ Beathard, I get it. I mean, he comes from that line, Bobby Beathard, his grandfather. Like, there's the history there. And I just think that Kyle actually likes him. He seems to be a likable guy. I'm not saying that Nick isn't likable, but, I just don't see the same affinity. You can see it too with how they are on the sidelines and stuff. Like you can see it, and just how Kyle will talk about people too. So,
oh yeah, that's a big.
That's just our opinions. Like I can't tell you for sure that that's the case. It's just what I see and what I feel is the case going on here. I think that Kyle knows that CJ would be like the guy from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where he's trying to fight the guy off with one leg cut off. You know what I mean? Like he knows CJ will go out there and get just blasted into oblivion by defensive players and still want to play. You kind of got to protect those guys from themselves. You love those guys, but that they sometimes do more harm to themselves than good.
Yeah, definitely. And the whole thing about, the public comments is huge because Kyle is not afraid to completely bash guys in the media that he doesn't like. He doesn't care for it. Even Jimmy, we've seen him. He was kind of going soft on him to begin his 49ers tenure when he started. He played really well, and then he had some shaky performances. Kyle was not quick to throw him under the bus at all.
No.
After that, he would kind of say, like, yeah, we need better from that position. Oh, he can't be doing that. Jimmy knows that. Jimmy knows, you shouldn't do that. Whereas with CJ, we saw him play really poor performances, and it was never, well, we need better from this. We need better from that. It was just, well, CJ is going to get better every day. He's the type of guy that's going to come in and fight every day. So he loves CJ, and I do think part of it too is that was his first quarterback drafted as a head coach, and maybe there's some connection there.
That was his guy. That's the one guy that really he's been able to really go to bat for. And he went to bat for CJ Beathard. He was like, look, I need this guy. And they even talk about that process where he was like, I didn't think I was going to get him. And then, they got him, and I was just super happy about it, and this and this and that. So, yeah, he definitely likes him. That's his guy for sure.
Yeah. Shanahan has more trust in Mullins and Juice. Only one of them is the best at their position in the NFL. He's definitely not Nick Mullins.
It's not.
No. Just Mostert being less than 100% scares me, so just want to get opinions. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in, man. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We go live. I know there's only a couple weeks left in the season, but we've been going live Saturday to preview the game, Sunday after the game. We'll be live again tomorrow, so subscribe. Once we reach 2,000 subscribers, we're giving away another 49ers jersey. We actually just gave one away Thursday night, I think it was.
Yeah.
Thursday night. Ty Anderson, congrats, Ty Anderson, if you're watching. Got a nice George Kittle jersey that will be there on the 23rd, so actually just in time for Christmas. That was just a spontaneous Christmas giveaway. I think we had like 60 people enter. And thanks to all our new subscribers, all 60 of you guys. Appreciate you guys. And thanks for tuning in for 49ers Hive every night, or every weekend, I should say. It's a blast talking to you guys. We're not wrapping it up yet. I just want to say thanks. If Jimmy takes a pay cut, would you be good with him coming back?
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's because that's the whole point. It's like Jimmy at $27 million is not worth it. But Jimmy
not at all.
Jimmy at like 10 or 15, then you can make an argument. Definitely, you can make an argument. It's just you're weighing what Jimmy gives you versus do we draft a rookie and then retain some of the 40 free agents that we're going to have, and that's really what you're balancing it with. So it's not just as simple as like Jimmy sucks, get him out of here. It's just at his salary with what we need, considering the positions that we have potential to take heavy losses in, is Jimmy worth it? And for me at that point, it's no. So they can cut him and gain $25 million in cap space by cutting him. So, unless he takes a substantial pay cut, then I think you have to move off of him.
Yeah, I agree because I agree. That's the whole point is you're paying him starter money for, and now it's average to above average starter money.
Right.
Back then it was premium starter money, but it's still a good amount of money for a guy who you're saying you can come in and compete. That's the best I can offer you right now. I don't think that's the type of money that type of position warrants. And if they're going to draft a rookie, then just like Matt said, there's still a bunch of other positions they need to address in free agency as far as retaining their guys, signing any other guys they might want to or be able to. That all comes out of that 27 million that Jimmy's going to be due. If you're willing to renegotiate, come back on a cheaper contract, you're more than welcome to. Part of me tells me Jimmy's not going to want to do that. I think he still thinks he's a bona fide starter in the league, and he's going to want to try and prove that elsewhere. We'll see how it shapes out, but I just really – it's going to be interesting because he's kind of this, like – I don't want to say coy, but this really nice, sweet, sincere guy in the media. And I'm almost curious to really know what he thinks about Shanahan and Lynch, and if he thinks that he's kind of gotten the shitty end of this deal.
Oh,
now,
Jimmy?
Yeah.
I'm almost 100% sure that Jimmy's actually low-key a dick.
You think so?
I kind of do. Just, like, look at the way he would mad dog, like, Dante Pettis. Or, like, listen, you could tell that he was terrorizing Dante Pettis.
Yeah.
You could tell, like, what you've seen the Jimmy Garoppolo stare where he's just, like, staring a hole in a dude. So I low-key do think he can kind of be a dick.
The one thing that does make me agree with that, now you say that, any of those carpool karaoke's they used to do with Keanu Martin or Joe Fan, do you remember when they would be like, oh, let's FaceTime Jimmy? Every single player would be like, he's not going to answer.
Yeah.
100% he's not going to answer. Like, I can call him. Even George Kittle said that, it's like, there's some weird thing going on where it's like it's almost like he's the type of guy that I could get like I'm here, but I'm not your guys' friends. Like let's get that straight right now. This is my job. Yeah. So I don't know. I could totally see that now that you mention it.
Yeah,
but
I definitely could see that. I definitely could see that.
Yeah, I think that he thinks that he got the shitty end of this deal, especially after ankle injury, and he kind of it was like, oh, Jimmy, we just got to get through this stretch, then he'll be back. And now it's basically like, yeah, we'll never see Jimmy again. So don't even ask about him. And think about it. Any other year and a down year where any sort of hope would be able to be provided by your starting quarterback returning, when's the last time you heard any reporter even bring Jimmy up?
Exactly. We didn't hear about him for weeks.
No.
Nobody even asked. Yeah.
No. What are our Christmas gifts? You can grab a Santa Claus t-shirt on our Teespring store, 15% off, high 15 code. And we're bringing content. We're always bringing content. That's our gift to you guys. I think Jimmy comes back and we take a quarterback in the first round. This team is ready for a Super Bowl run in 2021. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. Here's what I'd like to see. Jimmy takes a substantial pay cut. He's here. He's the bridge guy, right? You draft a first-round guy. Some guy who's legitimately a genius over in Washington by the name of Alex Smith retires. Hire him as quarterback's coach. Because I think that Patrick Mahomes greatly benefit, and he'll tell you right off the bat, Alex Smith was a huge part in why I was brought up to speed. He's a professional. He's a smart dude. He might not be the most talented guy in the room, but you can tell he's a thinking man guy. And I can tell you right now, Alex Smith is going to be a coach somewhere for sure. So, bring him home and have him, kind of teach these quarterbacks, hey, this is what we're looking at. This is what you got to look out for. Because the one thing you can say about Alex Smith is that he doesn't turn the ball over that much.
No.
Especially as he grew into his career, his last couple of years with the 49ers and then on through Kansas City, he was not turning the ball over a lot. So that's a guy that can definitely, come in and help out, at least with the professionalism. Even if he's just like an assistant or something like that, right? You come in and have him talk to the guys and teach them what it means to be a pro, the new guy. I mean, I'm sure Jimmy doesn't care, but,
Alex Smith is a –
bring him back, by the way. If you bring Jimmy back on a lowered salary and you draft a first-round guy, he's going to be pissed.
Yeah. Oh,
Which might be the best Jimmy Garoppolo. We don't know. But why not try it out? Because it hasn't been working so far.
It's funny because they brought him over and he was, this whole time he's kind of been the guy, like, well, we got to get him up to speed, get the playbook learned. And then he learned it and he came in, ran off 5 straight wins. He got all his hype surrounding him going into next year. He tore his ACL. Oh, we just got to get through this year. And then he has his last year where they have that Super Bowl run. And then this year it kind of started going down quickly. And now we're at the point where we're rounding the curve and it's like, all right, let's get a new guy in. So this is kind of the first time we're seeing how he'll handle this. The media, the majority of fans saying, okay, no, I'm out on Jimmy. Let's get somebody else. Could he still have more left to prove and have it in him? Sure. I'm not writing him off 100%. Right. I just think the 49ers, with all things considered, age, injury history, price tag, they're better off getting a young guy, controlled rookie salary, better injury history, and
the thing, more right? It's not just – we have to emphasize this. If it was only the play, Jimmy is not a terrible quarterback like that. But when you add in the pay and especially the injury history, again, he's missed like 28 games now, 29 games since he's been here. So, just over the course of his career, you can't miss that many games and have, and try to start. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. It does not. Quote, backup quarterbacks, if they play too long, people aren't going to like them very much because backups aren't the starter. Does that count as being soft?
That was about Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
That wasn't about CJ. That was about Nick. CJ played one play.
Yeah. So he's rough on Nick. What's your take on Grant Cohn? I can't stand the guy.
I like Grant in person. He pisses me off on the internet.
Yeah. I actually had Grant
in person is very nice.
Yeah. Very nice guy.
Very little guy. Him and his wife are both lovely people. I sat and had a conversation with him. He's great. Online, I think he does. I still think he's a troll. I still think he's ripping people off.
Yeah, it's his shtick. He was actually the first person we ever got on our channel to interview, if I remember correctly.
I will never hammer Grant too hard. I always like the person. I like Grant as a person. Sometimes it takes. I'm like, oh, Grant, Jesus.
The one thing I will give him credit for is he's original. Whatever it is, he's an original guy. Yep. His takes are unique.
And he sticks to his
Yeah, he really does.
He takes more fire than I would ever want to take.
And get to Grant's credit, he's one of the few beat reporters, whatever you want to, that will say, okay, this is why I think this. If you disagree with me, we can have it out as to why I think this and why you think that. A lot of reporters, cough, David Lombardi, will just kind of be smug about it and tell you, no, you don't know shit. I'm actually the one with the reporter name tag.
I'll tell you this, too. He is by far the best thing that Sports Illustrated has on their staff for the 49ers.
Fair, yeah. Definitely agree he's a troll. And I asked him that when I interviewed him if he was a troll.
He wouldn't answer.
He had like a 5-minute answer. I'll leave it at that. Wait, I thought I was the only one who noticed that. Jimmy G is not actually friendly, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think if you listen to him in interviews too, he seems awkward.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's the type of guy, and listen, like, not to get into like the looks thing or whatever, right? But obviously Jimmy G is a good looking dude. He's used to like getting whatever he wants with minimal amount of effort. And if there's pushback, he's going to bristle at that, and he doesn't know how to handle it. And I think that's where that comes in. I think he's just kind of spoiled. He comes across as like a little bit entitled, like, hey, I expect things to go my way, and if they don't go my way, I'm going to be pissed about it. Yep. Which is not a terrible trait to have in a leader necessarily, but, I don't know. I do think that there is a duality to Jimmy, the side that you see that everybody portrays him as a smiling, happy guy or whatever, and then the underneath stuff that you don't get to see. Would I be surprised if he MF'd teammates and like team meetings and stuff? Absolutely not. I think he's probably done it.
Yeah. Especially Dante. He has a no trade clause for 2021. Is this Jimmy? Is that what we're talking about? I don't know.
Jimmy has a no trade clause. He doesn't have a no cut clause.
Yeah, and depending on how they address it in the draft or free agency, he might waive that because a player can do that. So,
if Bill Belichick came knocking and was like, "I'll give you a 4," and they went to Jimmy and were like, "Will you waive your no trade clause and go back to New England?" Jimmy would be like, "See ya."
Yep. Bags packed. So goodbye Mullins next season. Yep. I would say it's almost guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Mayoko that kind of predicted the one that has the best outcome is CJ to return? So
yeah,
I would definitely see that.
Well, no. What Mayoko said was that that it's a very low possibility that the entire quarterback room was cleared out. And I said if it was me guessing out of one of the three who was going to stay, I was saying that it was going to be CJ because Kyle likes CJ.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Can you guys go through free agents and who you would bring back?
We're definitely going to do that on a future show. We're going to wait to get through the season because we want to have content in the off season and not just be like twiddling our thumbs. So we're definitely going to do that. We're going to go through first round. We're going to go through like first round quarterbacks, second round quarterbacks, like see who we want there. We're going to go through most of the positions of need for the 49ers and kind of guess who they're going to get.
Yep. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be wrapping things up here soon. I got to get back to tamale making, so send in any questions you guys have. I know this was supposed to be about the Cowboys 49ers. We kind of got sidetracked. I think everybody in the chat is kind of the same as we are. It's almost we'll
do our offensive, defensive MVPs and our score predictions.
No. Yeah, we still get to it.
Let's get through these questions though.
Yeah, Jimmy's biggest issue is health. Yep. 100%.
Yep.
The Niners' biggest issue is health and always has been. Yeah. Salary hit for Jimmy.
The 49ers will save $25 million against the cap if they cut Jimmy G. So his dead cap is 2.5 on a $27 million salary. So they'd have about 24.5 in cap savings.
Almost
so
makes
that's not even a big deal. You get rid of him for free. That's not even a thing to think about.
It almost makes you wonder why they structured the contract that way. It was almost like they had some suspicions he wasn't the guy.
They did that with Colin Kaepernick too.
Yep, they did. I remember that. Yeah,
they heavily front-loaded and incentivized his contract so that they could get out of it for free at the end.
Yep. Nick Mullins to the practice squad.
I think he has too much time. I don't think he's eligible.
That's true. Yeah, and there are enough QB needy teams to where he can go somewhere.
They pick him off the practice squad.
Jacksonville. Clear out all the quarterbacks.
Jacksonville's going to draft Justin Fields.
Yeah, they probably will. Clear out all the quarterbacks. One's got to stay.
One's going to stay just for continuity in Shanahan's system because you don't want Shanahan being the only voice in the new quarterback's head. You need to have the position coach there, and you need to have a vet that can walk him through on-field play because as good as Shanahan is as a coach, sometimes it really takes another player to make things click because they see the exact same things that you see having played the position.
I'm hearing two different things on Ford, cut or retire. Do we save cap money?
If we cut him, we don't. If he retires, his contract comes off the books. Yeah. If we cut him, I think not 100% sure, but I think it's like 13 million dead cap hit, which on 178 million cap is a little bit too much to take.
Yeah.
But if he retires, we get out of it scot-free. He goes on the retirement list, and then they don't have to – that doesn't count against the salary cap anymore.
Yeah. Man, that's such a disappointment what happened to him this year.
I know.
Nobody's even – I mean, what did he play, a half in week one?
Yeah. But to be fair, Kansas City fans warned us when we got him. They were like, good luck with that.
Yep, they did.
So
does Eric Armstead have a pulse? Remains to be seen.
He did.
That's a good one. Let's see. David Yang. There's only one guy who we're going to have to pay big money, and that is Trent.
Big money, yes. Medium money could go to a bunch of other guys, and then you have to think about next year, the big guy that you have to re-sign is Fred Warner.
Yep.
Who was on the last year of his rookie deal, and because he was the third rounder, you don't have the option for a fifth year. Yep. So you have to re-sign him. And he's going to make a ton of money. He's going to make
crazy money.
He's going to be the highest paid linebacker in the league.
And he deserves it, 100%.
And you have to bring him back.
Yeah.
I would say even more so than Trent, just because Trent's getting older. What I would do with Trent is sign him to like a more short-term deal that's more incentive-laden or even lucrative if you just give him like a gigantic Julio-style, thing right off the bat and just eat that cap for a year so that it comes off next year when you can re-sign Fred and other people. But I don't know. It's a lot. I'm sure Parag will come up with something. He always does.
He always does, yeah.
Yep.
You would think Shanahan could pick a quarterback. He banged the table for Beathard, and he is terrible.
To be fair, we've talked about this too. I think the one thing is that they were coming in on that draft. So Shanahan became the 49ers coach in February after the Super Bowl because he was with Atlanta. And that like right around the scouting combine. And without having done due diligence on all those quarterbacks, you can't really take a round one guy. He just picked the guy that had the most traits that he could see in that short amount of time in a mid-round where he felt comfortable to take that guy. And it didn't pan out. But CJ was what, a fourth round guy? Third round guy?
Third, I want to say.
If you wrong, a third round quarterback, it doesn't really cripple your team like missing on a first round quarterback. So in my eyes, this is a little more forgivable that he banged the table for CJ because he was looking for a culture guy, not necessarily a franchise QB. If you're looking for franchise QBs in the third round, you're doing it wrong.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he was basically trying to find a guy, I think, that could possibly hold him over. You got to remember they had signed Brian Hoyer at the time. They were probably thinking we can get into this with Brian Hoyer and maybe groom CJ along, maybe find out where this year goes.
See how he does. And then Brian got hurt and CJ had to go in and it just didn't pan out. But I mean, at least they knew early. So that way they could get Jimmy real quick. So
see, Colin Young, would you guys rather have a quarterback in the first round or that edge rusher to Matt, this is all you.
Collie, you want to get banned? I will ban you. We do not need to pick a sixth edge rusher or a sixth defensive lineman in a row in the first round. No. Quarterback,
100%.
Quarterback. Nick Bosa is going to elevate the play of the others around him. So if you bring back a guy like Kerry Hyder on a medium deal, Kerry Hyder's balling out this year with no Nick Bosa, right? I mean, maybe Eric Armstead will come back from the dead next year with Nick Bosa. But, I mean, it's a deep room. You don't necessarily need another edge rusher right off the bat. Nick Bosa is good enough to elevate everybody else's play. You do need the quarterback because guess what? You only have one that plays. So,
No, totally agree. No more defensive linemen in the first round. Matt has gone as far to say he will boycott the team next year if they draft a defensive lineman round 1. So
I will not watch the team. I will not watch any games.
We'll see how that goes. Josh Hutchins, Eric Armstead is good at playing patty cake with the O-line.
That's true. That's true. He's like, high five, friends.
Yeah. Here are my 96-inch long arms. Gosh, I jacked that up. He's way too big and way too ineffective for $85 million. Trent Williams, Fred Warner, Jason Verrett, Juice, Gold, Kittle got to stay next season. Yeah, some of these guys are under contract. Kittle for sure. I don't know about Gold. That's a good one. I don't know if Gold. Verrett and Trent are pending free agents. Fred Warner's still on his rookie contract. So I think you're muted.
Sorry. I don't think they're going to be able to convince Gold not to try to go back to Chicago again.
Yeah, that was really awkward.
Really weird.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Oh, my God. That was really weird when everything happened and he was like talking to the media. He kind of got mad at the media. Do you remember that when they asked him about it?
Yeah.
He was like, I have family there. Obviously, I love living there. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. And everybody was like, oh, all right. Mike could stay, but he's got to eat and never skip leg day. It just depends on if they have any other options.
They're gonna have to pick up his 5th year.
Yeah. Gonna have to, unfortunately, for all of us. Gold needs to be signed before the Seahawks game. Should we? Has an issue last year. I'd let him walk. Doesn't seem like he's a Cali guy. Kind of fits into what you're saying.
You gotta remember, he's getting old, man. I think he's like 38.
Yeah. He's old, but he's up there.
Yeah.
Who is going to be there in the first round for us to pick? Depends where they fall.
Listen, if you want your guy, go get him.
Yeah.
Go get him. I'm doing first round this year, first round next year, second round pick, Jimmy Garoppolo, kitchen sink, Levi's Stadium. Go give it to the Jets and go get
Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh, take him.
Yep.
Go get Trevor Lawrence. If you got your guy, who cares about the draft picks right now? Because the draft is a 50-50 shoot anyway, right? Like, who cares about your first round pick if it turns into Solomon Thomas or Reuben Foster?
Yeah.
Trade it and go get the guy that you really want.
Yep. Solomon Thomas back next year.
Speaking of Solomon Thomas, I think so because I think the injury just killed all his value. So they're going to be able to bring him back on like a vet minimum contract.
Yeah. Wouldn't doubt it. Seems like a guy they really like too. They like to have around. They like his personality.
He's guy.
He fits the culture. Yeah. Even though he doesn't produce much, he fits the culture. So I think he likely does come back. All right, let's get into our defensive and offensive MVPs.
By the way,
final score
before we go anywhere, Hung Fat, we saw the comment, but we're not gonna. I don't want that smoke.
Same here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
we're not ignoring you. We just don't want that smoke.
Let's get into our defensive MVPs first. Matt, who do you got tomorrow?
Defensive MVP, I'm going to go with Dre Greenlaw, who's going to have to step up in the absence of Fred Warner. He's going to have to be all over the field, making tackles. And I really do think he can do it. I mean, he looks like he's even faster than Fred at times. Like, he flies. You just see him everywhere. So, yeah, really it's going to come down to – because Andy Dalton's a guy that's not going to beat you deep. He's going to beat you on the intermediate routes. And you're going to have to cover for Alshire, who's not exactly – a coverage master, a coverage guru. He can get lost at times. So really the midfield tackling is going to be very, very key for Dre Greenlaw. But I think he can do it because from rookie year to second year, I don't think that you could have predicted any type of rise like he's had.
Yeah.
Is Warner playing?
I don't know. I saw he was questionable, but I didn't actually see anything definitively, yes or no.
He had the stinger, right? He didn't have any structural issues.
Yeah. That's what they classified it as.
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna look it up real quick, but go ahead and give me your defense.
Okay. For me, I'm gonna go with a guy who I've been kind of singing all year the praise for, Kerry Hyder. We talked about him earlier. I do think that he's able to have a nice game. I think that he continues to build. This guy's playing for a contract basically, and since Nick Bosa's gotten injured, he's had a solid year. So I think Kerry Hyder has another good game tomorrow to add to his stint with the 49ers. I'm going to give him 1.5 sacks. I think he comes through for the 49ers on defense. gets the red rifle down a couple times, and helps the 49ers have a good defensive performance.
So it looks like Fred's going to be a game time decision. He had a full speed practice yesterday, so he's trending in the right direction. But I'm still going to say that Dre Greenlaw, because I think that he definitely, has to be there. Because and I know David Yang just said he had a stinger. That's it. Those things can linger, man. Those things are kind of your nerves are really weird. So I thought when he first did it, the way his arm was pushed back, I thought he had like an anterior shoulder dislocation where the humerus like pops forward, because his arm looked like it got pushed really back while his head was going back. So I just thought it popped through. And he was kind of like holding it weird. So I thought that was it. And they were like, oh, it's a head injury. And I was like, he got concussed on that. And then it turned out to be a stinger. So, yeah.
It was weird. Kinlaw is a good option too, David Yang. He's been getting better every week, it seems like. So that's a good choice.
With a full off-season program, Javon Kinlaw is going to be a fucking wrecking machine.
Yeah. I'm excited to see his growth.
Monetization, the first F-bomb.
All right. Offensive MVP, Matt, who do you got?
Trent Williams.
Wow.
He's going to give up no sacks, no pressures, and he's going to light up somebody. Everybody else is kind of like, all right, whatever. At this point, I can't pick position players anymore, because it's just like, although I will say the one position player I want to see do well for the rest of the year is Brandon Ayuk. I'd like to see him top 1,000 yards for his rookie season.
That's my pick. I'm going to go with Ayuk. I think you probably left that one for me to take the easy one.
Yeah.
It's got to be Ayuk. The guy's balled out. Just similar to Kinlaw, he's gotten better in every week, in every game.
Yeah. And we had this discussion, by the way, earlier. It was early in the season, and I can't remember who said it, but somebody was saying that Ayuk is actually better, like he's the number one over Debo. But they said it like week 3, and it was really early. But at this point right now, I don't feel uncomfortable saying that. I think that Ayuk long-term is going to be the number one guy.
Yeah.
You just watch him when he's out there. His route running is filthy, and he's graceful. Debo's definitely the bulldozer guy. He's going to knock you on your ass, but then that comes with the added problems of, is he going to be injured? And then we have the conditioning stuff. Brandon Ayuk came back from his little injury and came back from COVID, like missed a couple, things here and there, and he just came back full speed running every time. So to me, I think that, Brandon Ayuk definitely going forward could be the number one guy.
You don't see Debo running too many deep routes and getting those deep shots. Yeah. I think Ayuk has a much larger route tree than Debo does. Debo is a great tactician, a great underneath guy, make the guy miss and make a play on the ball. Brandon Ayuk is basically get the ball in his hands wherever, down the field, short, intermediate, and he could get the job done.
Yeah, so, and this actually goes back to the quarterback thing where people were like, can Shanahan really pick a quarterback? To me, I think that Shanahan's kind of vindicated, saying that he thought Ayuk was the best receiver in the draft, because Justin Jefferson, notwithstanding with the numbers that he's put up, Brandon Ayuk looks like the real deal. He looks better than Jerry Jeudy. He looks better than CeeDee Lamb. He looks better than all the guys that went before him. Henry Ruggs looks fantastic, but he can't stay on the field. He's been hurt. So, pound for pound, other than Justin Jefferson, I think that Brandon Ayuk has been the best wide receiver in the draft.
Yep. And he's been playing with backups for the most part. So, what's up?
What? You want to see Richie James utilized in place of Debo? He can't do what Debo does.
No.
Richie James will get knocked on his ass if he tries to do the things that Debo does. Richie James is like 5'9", $165. Debo Samuel's 6 feet tall and like 205, 210, 215. Debo Samuel's he's a squat, compound, thick boy who's going to run people over. Richie James ain't running nobody over.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I know what you're saying. Like, yes, Richie James should get an opportunity. They can't just plug him where Debo plays and go do that. It doesn't work. He's not the same type of player. No. Richie is best operating in space, whereas Debo can work in a crowd and it doesn't bother him because he's just going to smash that guy anyway.
Yep. It's true. The rookies are taking over. Kinlaw and Ayuk are stars. This was a great first round.
Ayuk is definitely a star. Kinlaw is a star in the making. I think he needs a little more polish.
Yeah. Better hands, Richie or KB? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I want to say KB, but he's
I
just
will
known.
say KB. I will say KB because the drops that he has aren't drops because his hands suck. It's
Mental
because he
errors.
gets excited and he starts looking upfield.
Yeah. Yep.
Kendrick Bourne's drops are concentration drops. They're not like, oh, he doesn't have hands.
Yeah.
Because he makes ridiculous catches too, where you're just like, wait a second.
Yeah. Bails the quarterback out. Yeah. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah. Kendrick is still frustratingly inconsistent when it comes to his concentration, where he just, and part of that is that Kendrick knows I'm not a 4-3 guy. Kendrick's like, I'm a 4-6 guy. So I got to turn and get upfield quick. Otherwise, I'm going to get tackled. Yeah. But really, he could really make his name by being a chain mover and being that possession guy. Just listen, we don't need you to be Tyreek Hill or a Stephon Diggs or anything like that. Be Michael Crabtree. Be Adam Thielen. Be the guy that gets 3rd and 10, you get 11.
Yep.
Just be that guy.
Yep. Great point. If Mullins overthrows Reed again, I will take a shot. Do it on camera.
Dude, just be careful. You're going to be drinking a lot. Careful.
Right.
Careful. Drink responsibly.
Yeah. A shot of beer.
Drink responsibly, folks.
Exactly. KB makes the tough catches, but gets too excited with the easy ones. That's
happens.
Great explanation.
Yeah. Because he knows, like, when he catches those, he's like, I got space.
Yeah.
I got space. And then what happens is it's like, I got space. Oh.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Wrapping it up. Final score prediction. Yes. What do you got, Matt? Who wins?
I just think the 49ers defense is too good for Andy Dalton. I think it's going to be a sloppy game. I think it's going to be kind of a boring game. I think both teams are going to live between the 20s. So all in all, I got the 49ers winning 16-13.
Interesting score. I've been picking against the 49ers the last couple of weeks. Once in the last couple of weeks, they proved me wrong. I think Dallas still has a shot at their division. Shockingly, I think they have a lot more to play for than the 49ers. I know mathematically the 49ers aren't dead yet, but
if they lose tomorrow,
basically all but. So I'm gonna stick with the trend. I think the Cowboys end up taking this one, still in the fight for their division title. I'm gonna go 21-13 Dallas. And for anybody watching, I understand the rivalry. I'm 26, like I wasn't alive when I was alive, but I was very young. The whole great ages of the 49ers.
Folks.
Yes. So it doesn't mean much to me. Recently, it's more, you can say Packers, Seahawks. That's more important to me. So I wouldn't be upset. But
Kali said 25. That's a lot of field goals, dude. That's 6 field goals and a touchdown right there.
Robbie Gould's going to earn that
Living between those 20s.
Yeah. Final win of the year, 27-20. All right, I like this. And by the way, before I forget to mention this, if any of you guys get the final score prediction right, we're going to send you some free merch. So drop your final score predictions in the comment. Nobody has gotten it all year. No. The Rams game a couple weeks ago, a lot of people got really close within a couple of points. So drop your final score predictions either in the live stream comments or in the actual video comments on YouTube.
Aaron Paul, me too, brother.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yep. Exactly, yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it.
By the way, as bad as everybody felt that we got shellacked by the Buffalo Bills, they demolished the Broncos today.
They look like the real deal.
They're a Super Bowl contender for sure.
Josh Allen is the improvements Josh Allen has made is tremendous.
Crazy. And that's why when you got a guy, everybody told Buffalo, like, oh, you're silly, man. You went and got Josh Allen. Everybody was criticizing the Chargers for picking Justin Herbert at 6. Yep. But look how that's working out. If you got your guy, go get your guy.
Yep, exactly.
So tomorrow, I know we usually do the show, the post-game show after the press conferences. But just for the sake to let you guys relax and watch some football, we're going to do them in between the afternoon games when they end. We're going to go live about 4:30 and then before the Sunday night game. That way you don't have to balance the two. You can just show up here, have a good time, and it's just nothing wall-to-wall football all day for you guys.
Yeah, so make sure you guys join us tomorrow, like Matt said, after the afternoon slate of games. The last comment here, Aaron Paul. Dallas probably wins to end the season. Hope not, but I'll pick Dallas 27-21. Mullins INT ends it in the end zone. How fitting.
I actually really hope you win, dude.
Yeah.
I can see that happening like right off the bat. So
yeah, seriously. We're going to leave it on that, guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Like I said, if you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please make sure you do so now. It really helps. Like this video as well. It helps in the algorithm. So hit like, hit subscribe. Once we reach 2,000 subscribers, we're giving away what will be our 6th 49ers jersey in the time that we've had our channel going back to the summer. So make sure you subscribed because it could be you rocking a new 49ers jersey.
Yeah. Go ahead and click the bell and turn your notifications on so you never miss another video. Thank you guys so much for joining us as always. We will see you here tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. to go over the hopeful, well, I don't want to say hopeful for a victory. Whatever
game.
We'll be there for the post game. Join us here at 4:30 tomorrow. Until next time, guys, go Niners.